Hi, wherever you're watching me from, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and I think also TikTok this time around. Welcome to the Sunday interview of Basement Chronicles. My name is Lisa Dublin, and we've been around since 2020. I kind of feel like we have to have established 2020, established since 2020. We need to have that kind of little moniker now. But welcome. On the Sunday interview, my aim is to really bring to light and to highlight stories of immigrants who are doing great things in the world. People, stories of resilience, stories of making your own way, stories of thinking out of the box, of leveraging what you knew to do, what you're doing now. So you can join me on Sunday at this time for interesting interviews. And also, if you know somebody who I should be interviewing, particularly if you are in the diaspora, please just get in contact with me. I would love to have them on the show. I intend to do this for all of 2025, God willing, to kind of like, let's bring the communities together. I'm particularly interested in bringing together Caribbean and African communities because that is where I kind of find myself living here in Edmonton between those communities. And it's so fascinating and interesting, and it lends itself to really us learning about each other in new ways. Without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest today. My guest today is Clarita Monrose. Clarita is also from St. Lucia, like I am. I live in Canada. She lives in the US. And, her story is amazing. I've had the honor of coaching her the last while, and it has been, no, I've just had like a ringside seat to see amazing happen. So I thought I'd bring her on today and let me keep quiet and ask her to introduce herself. Hey, Clarita, how are you?
Hi, Lisa. How are you? Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor. As you mentioned, I've been working with you. You've been coaching me, and it's been such an amazing experience. And I'm just happy to be here with you and your audience today.
Absolutely. Let's start with who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? Oh my gosh. So I am a proud St. Lucian, but I currently live in the US. What do I do? I am a CEO of CME Accounting LLC. I started back in, when did we start? Back in
Mhm.
2021 or
Hmm?
actually 2022.
Okay.
Sometimes the years just they go so quickly, right? Yes. So in the accounting practice, we focus on small and mid-sized businesses, and our aim is to provide accounting services to help with strategic planning.
Mhm.
And we try our best to ensure that people understand what's happening with the numbers in the business.
Very important.
Um, yes. And in addition to that, we're also very much into community. So we also have a podcast called Begin, Build, Blossom, where we speak to fellow entrepreneurs to learn their story, to introduce them to other entrepreneurs, and just to have that community feel. So we say that we merge numbers and communication,
Yes.
and we just kind of bring people together.
So I have a trick question for you. It's not on our list. Which part of your business or your offering excites you the most?
Which part of my offering? I think we help people to really understand their financials, and
Mhm.
that really excites me because you get to learn so much about yourself through the numbers. When you put those numbers down, you will learn part of the story that you didn't realize before. You see trends, you see things in a way that you've probably never seen it before. So for me, that excites me because you learn something new about yourself, about the business, and that helps you to make decisions going forward.
What I've liked about your business and how unique it is, okay, so we've got the accounting business and then you've got this whole podcasting, but it's the way you've managed to pull stories from the accounting. Like the clients the people who you interview, they are small business people, right? For the most part.
Hmm.
And so the conversation starts, yes, how did you get into business and so on. But what's amazing is how you're able to, and please go check out her podcast, Begin, Build, Blossom. I fell in love with it from the first time I heard it, and it's going strong. How many episodes now, Clarita?
I think we're about 40 something. We were
Yay! And
um,
wait, and you have
February will
CME,
actually
right?
be a year since we started.
Wow,
So we were
that's
approaching that
awesome.
year 1 year mark.
Yeah, and you're just so dedicated with it and able to pull out stories from accounting to make it apply to life, to business. That is awesome. So keep going, girl. Keep
Yes, and
going.
business and life, they how you call that, they come together in a special way, and part of that is through, I learned that also through junior achievement.
Mm-hmm.
um the junior achievement has a program in the elementary schools that they call Bees Town, and they basically encourage elementary students to run their own city for a few hours. So they get to vote, they get to see what it's like to use money, they
Oh,
basically get to run a place. So it really connects what you learn
mm-hmm.
with real life. And I think all of that is, we learn from different experiences in our life. And that was one of those where I really saw how business and real life can be connected. And, it all goes pretty well together.
And you did junior achievement back in St. Lucia, back in
Yes.
secondary school,
Yes. So Junior
high
Achievement is
school.
an organization that really encourages entrepreneurship. So
Mm-hmm.
it reaches children from a very young age, and it introduces the whole idea of entrepreneurship, and you actually get to run a business. So for me, I started at Sosa Secondary School, and we run an ice cream stall,
Mm.
and we got to make the decisions about ordering the ice cream, selling the ice cream, the price, what should we do to advertise, how do we manage the money that comes in, how do we pay people.
Mm-hmm.
We did all of that, as basically as high schoolers. So
And
we were our own C-suite. We got to
wow,
make all those big
exactly.
decisions.
So two questions. Was there accounting involved in that process? Like, did you get a grounding in accounting there? Was it
Yes, in
like that?
terms of the managing of the money,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
really ties into the accounting. So probably
Awesome.
back then I didn't see it like that,
Mhm.
because accounting at the time just was just a subject that I did, but you do realize how that is part of it. Yes.
And did you guys make money? Did you make a
Oh, we
profit?
sure did. Yes.
Everybody loves ice cream, right?
Of course. And people look forward to us coming out selling our ice cream. And if I remember correctly, at the end, you basically have to dissolve the company at the end of the period. So you get your share in terms of, so it's really like running an actual business. So I would
Okay.
encourage anybody to look
Mm,
up Junior Achievement. And
yeah.
I've been involved in the US as well. Some of the ways I've done that is going back into the schools and teaching about business ethics and different things like that. I plan to be more involved, but some things you have to balance things. So I'm not
Mhm.
quite there yet, but I plan to get back into it.
Okay, awesome. And I know you have the love of your life, little Sierra. Your
Yes,
daughter is part of the business part of, I mean, why you do what you do. So,
definitely.
yeah, absolutely. So let's go to, I find we were talking before we came on live, and I was saying that I find your transformation from when we first started working together to now has been amazing. So congratulations on that, because that part of it is all on you in terms of you took what you needed and you literally ran with it, Clarita. So let's just give a little context here. So Clarita worked with me. We did Speak with Confidence first, and then we started coaching, like doing life coaching.
Right.
And I won't forget when you came in. I don't know if you remember when you did like one of your speeches in Speak with Confidence. You were in a gray, just a gray t-shirt. And I was like, okay, like that. I don't need to say enough said that Clarita, as opposed
Hmm.
to the one who just did a photo shoot not too long ago
Right.
with the fuchsia and the cream and the hair and oh my goodness. And that transformation, nobody could have done it, but something seemed to have happened within. Can you
Hmm.
tell us what that journey has been like? What has the confidence journey been? I'm just ringside watching, okay? What has
So
been the confidence journey? Yeah.
I've always thought of myself as a confident person,
Yeah.
but life happens
Mm,
and sometimes you get knocked down, and it takes a lot to get back on it.
it's so true.
And you just don't know what that looks like until it happens. So for me, by the time I met you, I was going through a divorce. Um, I had moved across country from California to New York, and I was starting all over again.
Mm-hmm.
With my, probably at the time I met you, like she was 4, so my
Yeah.
4-year-old daughter, and we were literally just trying to figure everything out. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a time of just surviving, and a lot, when you have a lot to figure out, things get lost. And when you have a child, and I also had this business, so I
Right.
basically thought of it as having 2 children.
Yeah.
So you take care of the children more than you do yourself. So I was in that's to give some context, that's where I was. But I was at least still trying, like I still knew what I wanted, so I just ensured that I kept that piece alive. But
Mm-hmm.
then I realized I needed help. So in terms of the divorce, I did seek out therapy and all
Mm-hmm.
of that. Just, mental health is important, so it's good to take care of yourself in that way. And then I actually started with you on the coaching side,
Mm-hmm.
because I was working on my business, but I needed to do a lot more, and I feel like my mind was a little bit scattered because there was so much going on. I needed somebody to help guide me, help me focus, help me realize, yes, I have all those grand plans, but we need to just figure it out together. Let's put a plan together, strategic planning and all of that. And that's where you came in.
Mm-hmm.
So it was important that I realized that I needed that help. And then I went ahead and, engaged with you to help me through it.
And it was like, for me, I remember lately, maybe the last must have been around, when did you do the photo shoot? Must have been, what,
Maybe,
October,
no,
November?
yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and it was something you said on the call. And if you don't mind me saying it, it's positive. Okay.
Hmm.
And you said, I realized I want to be this person. Like you literally made a decision that
Hmm.
you wanted to be the person who was well put together, who took care of herself, who had her stuff, who just had her stuff in order. You
Hmm.
literally made that decision, and it was like a thought change,
Hmm.
or realization that you just came upon. And I'm sitting there like, huh, okay, this is why I got into coaching, to
Yeah.
live for moments like this, you
And
know?
that's the thing about coaching. It's not you telling me what to do. It's
Oh
me
no.
coming, that whole self-realization. It's like this guidance. And I'm doing most of the talking during the
Yeah.
during our sessions. But what that does is, you're in a space where you created that space for yourself. You set aside that time to focus on you, which I would not usually do. So it helped to be able to do that and actually think through, and have somebody asking you the relevant questions. And when you come up with something, just kind of helping you push through a little bit more, like just challenging you.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think that's what it was. So I had quite a lot of realizations during our session. So it's like, there are a lot of things that were already in me. I just needed help to get it out, or to, just reconnect in a sense. So that
Absolutely.
moment you're talking about, yes, I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I'm like, I am her.
That's it, right? That's what I am her. That's what you said.
Yes.
Oh, these are the moments that you just never forget. I think even when you say them yourself, you come upon
Hmm.
that realization, and as a coach, it gives you. For me, it's like, okay, yes, this is the reason that anybody should get into coaching or become a coach
Hmm.
or get coached. Um,
Right. And if
I,
you don't mind me adding,
yeah, go
even
ahead.
for the photo shoot, I remember it's something I came to you and I told you I've been wanting to do that for a while. But I kept thinking, I'm gonna do it in St. Lucia, because I had this amazing photographer, Alberta in St.
Hmm.
Lucia, Alberta Photography, and I've
Hmm.
always said that I want her to do my photo shoot. But then things didn't. We had we spoke about it, but things just didn't work out for it to happen. I was in St. Lucia, but it didn't work out the way it should. All on my end, of course. But then I think I told you about that, and you said, but you're right here in New York. Like, what's stopping you from doing it here? And I'm like, I was just so focused on getting it done this way that I just never thought about it.
Yeah, and and
And
maybe it
mhm,
might be an affinity to home as well. What do you think about that? I know we hadn't discussed that, but
mhm.
like home is comfortable, right? Home, you can always
Yes.
go home, but when you're a business person in a new air, in a new setting, there's that shift that has to take place. And my good friends always tell me that, like, okay, you're here now. This is the market mostly. Who are you appealing to? Because home is
Mhm.
comfortable. You accept it. You don't have to work as hard as like to make your name and yourself. I don't know if you feel that way. And one of my things was like, you're in New York, like, do you clients go there?
Yeah, well, home is home, and oh my gosh, I
Yeah,
would do anything to be home all the
me
time. So
too.
maybe that's
Yeah,
part of it. I just want to be home. I mean, what's a better backdrop for your photo than anywhere in St. Lucia?
I know, right? And you
So
can
for
see.
me, I was focused on that part of it, and
Mhm,
people I'm comfortable with. But yes, when you said that, and that's part of coaching too, it helps you come out of your comfort zone. So I think that's kind of one of the things that happened there. And it turns and after you said that, I did the work. I reached out to my network and I asked, people to provide references. And I actually reached out to this photographer.
and
And
stylist, right? The
yes, well, that's
whole
the,
nine.
and that's one of the things though. When I reached out to her, I didn't even think about the other aspects of it. But then she then connected me with other people.
Mhm,
And I actually opened up her website and it said something about Level Up. I think it's called Level Up Photography.
mhm,
And right above my screen, I have a vision board. Like I'm looking at them right now.
mhm,
And
mhm.
one of them says Level Up Dressing. So I have a whole vision board about what I want to look like. And then there it was, her website saying Level Up Photography right next to the thing that says Level Up Dressing. So vision board, like envisioning what you want, really helps. But when I spoke with her, she then introduced me to a makeup artist and a person who helps with styling. So I'm
Mhm.
still in the process. I'm not
Look, it's
quite there
very good
yet.
doing it too. And you know that you remember that photo that came out of the photo shoot where you were all nicely dressed and you have your daughter on your that was it spoke millions. Did you get
Hmm.
lots of great feedback? You guys can go look for CME Accounting and look for that photo. It was amazing.
Yes, it's on my LinkedIn, and it
Amazing.
was such a real moment because
Mm,
my daughter was having a difficult time during the photo shoot. We had a lot of people there to help, but she just wanted mommy, and mommy was not there. Mommy was taking photos, and she's not used to mommy doing stuff for mommy. So there was a bit of an adjustment there. So at that
mm,
moment, she actually ran up to me and she held me tight. And
mm.
because she just needed some comforting in the moment, and the photographer went ahead and took that photo, and I really
Okay.
cherish that. It really just says a lot
Yeah, it's
about motherhood and
yeah, and then you
balancing.
made right, and then like now you're learning the whole system. You made a whole story about it that was so endearing. Like that's how we do it, right?
Yeah, because it is so real, and for me, I'm living that life. So when I look at that photo, that's all the thoughts that come in, right? Because there is this real story behind the moment that behind what led to this moment. So that is
Exactly.
what I communicated in that post, which has done really well actually.
I'm sure, yeah, because like these are the moments, like when Trump got shot and he raised his hand. You cannot orchestrate these moments. You just
Mhm.
literally have to be ready for when they do come. And I think that was one of those ones for you. That's it's just one of those Kairos moments. It just happens,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So, can I ask you about podcasting? Because,
Oh
like,
yeah.
look at that. Yes, exactly. You see that love? Oh, my goodness. Like, I think we need to go there a little bit if you don't mind. The
Sure.
love for podcasting, I've seen it in you, and I mean I share it as well. It's one of the best parts of what I do to just it's a space where you can just literally be yourself,
Mhm.
yes, do you probably script a little bit or whatever, but it really is you connecting with your audience in long form over a
Mhm.
period of time, so you really
Right.
can enjoy with people. But what is it about podcasting that is so captivating for you? The first question about podcasting. I have a couple others.
Yeah, it's a connection and just being with people. I'm very much how would I put that? I'm very much into community.
Mhm.
So when I speak to, I genuinely love to learn about people. Anybody who knows me knows that I ask a lot of questions.
Yes.
Not in a way where it's invasive, but it's just that I truly want to know the person, their
Mhm.
experiences, and I learn. I really absorb a lot from conversations,
Uh-huh.
and I see that a lot in my daughter. Actually,
Okay.
she's the same way. So
Yeah.
for me, when I have those conversations, it's all about learning, and I like passing on information as well. So we
Yes.
have that give and take thing going on there, and it's just getting to meet people like one of the most recent podcasts, actually,
Mhm.
it's this lady from a place called the Cozy Cup, and it came about.
Mhm.
We went there with my daughter. She had a play date with her best friend, and it was so amazing. It was such a beautiful experience that I wanted to speak with the person who owned it. And that is
Mhm.
something I would do in my normal life. Like, I would just go ask questions and just learn and tell you how much I enjoyed the experience. So now I get to just extend that conversation a little bit and be like, why don't you come on the podcast and tell everybody else about this amazing place? And that's
Yeah.
kind of how it came about.
So okay, that's okay. That's an awesome. It really shows that you're really a people's person, even as you're a pilot. Before we go on, I had to say, the other thing we were speaking about before we came on was like I usually ask my clients to do a personality test before we start coaching, so I know who I'm dealing with. And you
Hmm.
happen to be a high pilot. So there's the disc assessment, and then there's another form of it that I usually give clients. So either you're to find out just how you get along with people. There's pilot, flight attendant, there is the air traffic controller or the ground crew. So if you think in the context of, flying, the flight attendant is that person who's very extroverted. Then the pilot is I am directing that ship, and that is Clarita. And that's exactly what you did. And of course, you have the grounds crew person who's just willing to help. And I'm not sure if you scored very highly there. It's not a matter of like you're supposed to or whatever. It's just a matter of this is who you are. So it kind of helps me to know, okay, this is a pilot. Definitely pure coach. Let her run the show. Be there like the lifeguard, be there like the person asking questions. What about that? But literally, I was the person on the side, like while you were in your strategy sessions, I brought in what I needed to, brought the resources, the knowledge, just but ask questions and push back when I sometimes, like Clarita, you are a true pilot. Sometimes when I finished coaching you, I was tired. Oh my God. Because you are strong-willed.
Hmm.
And it's lovely to see it in action. You know why? Because that's how you build muscle. So you'd come and you'd push back and we'd go back and forth in terms of all about what you want and what's
Hmm.
best for you. And is this working? Do you think that's the best way? And then you'd go away and you'd make your own decisions and be able
Hmm.
to justify it and be okay with it. And I
Yes.
believe that is really what coaching is about, to take what you need and to really make something of it. And that's exactly what you've done. Like
Yes.
hand that's it. Yeah. So
And I totally get the being tired part because my daughter is just like me. And
oh great.
sometimes I look at him like, I love this for you, but right now, this is very tired. It takes a
I
lot of energy.
It does. That's
Hmm.
what God gifts us with kids like ourselves, right?
Right.
But it was a lovely experience because I was like, you see, this is a winner. Like if you started their hair in 2 years, 3, 5 years, and what we said would happen is exactly what's happening now. So it's a sign of great things to come because you have great plans for the business and you are able to bring the pieces together in such a
Yeah.
great way. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much, so I want to move on to the next question. um, Advice for immigrants coming to a new country, because a lot of immigrants would be listening here. Oh, by the way, we have a comment from Sienna. She says, "You guys have me thinking of a photo shoot."
Yeah, of course, definitely do it.
Yeah, let her start her business first, though. Like, here's the coach and me talking. Like, start that coaching business because she does have the certification. Anyway, I said it. So, what advice do you have for immigrants coming to a new country?
um I would say for me, the biggest thing was having a support system. So being able to go out there, network, meet new people. Some people may not like me saying that, but sometimes we come in and we stay in our comfort zone. We stay around the people who sound like us, who look like us, and people who just remind us of who just we are, right? And that's great. We do need that because we want to stay grounded. But you also want to open up your network. Go out and meet people who share different perspectives, who have people who have a different culture than your own, and to just get to learn the people that you're around. Spend more time with them. Just expanding your network like that would just help you so much. You get to see the world in a different way. It just enriches the experience, I would say.
Yeah.
And the next thing I would say is again the being open to different cultures. Like, don't be like, oh, that's how you do stuff. I don't like it. But just kind of take the good that you can, and you don't have to take everything that comes with everybody.
Mm,
Um, so just appreciate the differences and really embrace it where you can. And I think lastly, I would say give yourself time, because
mhm,
sometimes we come and we think of all the things we want to achieve, which is great, but we have to give ourselves time to get to know the place, get to understand how things work, get to meet people, and kind of take it at your own pace. Don't feel rushed because
mhm.
everybody else is doing this, or this person got to this place in 6 months. Just kind of take your time and do the best you can.
Okay, that's sound advice. A follow up to that is, has it ever gotten negative in stepping out? Because like sometimes when you're too far out, like if you're learning to swim and you go where you're out of your depth, you
Hmm.
get frantic. I mean, I just want to go back on shore, like go back to where it is safe. Have you?
And that happens a lot. It will
Yeah,
continue
tell me
to
about that.
happen.
Okay.
But I think that's part of growing. You get out of that. You kind of go out there, test the waters a little bit, and now you know how much further you can go, and then you go
Mhm,
further after that. And that's why I say also give yourself time. You don't want to do anything too quickly. You do want to, be cautious. But
mhm,
I've had a few experiences here in the US that I would say tested me quite a bit. It changed me in some ways too.
mhm.
I came here first to go to school, to university. And after that, I joined corporate America, and that was something.
Good something,
um,
bad something.
both good and bad. I mean,
Okay.
I am this black girl from St. Lucia with an accent on a work visa. That comes with a lot of complications,
Possibility.
and I mean, there is a lot you can gain, but also for me, my experience was I joined an organization that didn't have a lot of people that looked like me,
Mm,
and sometimes those we're trying to be out there learning about other people and learning how to be with other people, but that doesn't mean the other people are trying to do the same thing.
nope, they
So
don't.
some of them it's like yeah, I couldn't be bothered. I remember one time I came into the office and I asked this young lady whether she would like to have lunch, just to kind of get to know her better. She sat right next to me,
Mhm.
in my cubicle. She doesn't look like me. And she said no, she's busy. And then not too long after, this other person who looked more like her came along and was like, "Hi, let's go out to lunch." And oh my gosh, she was the first to say yes.
How do you
And
feel?
I
Like,
was like, what just happened?
what? So,
Like,
how did you feel though? I have a
I
similar.
mean, I felt it, but I didn't allow it to. I was like, okay, I get it. So now I've learned. But it
Yeah.
so happened that I made it to that same lunch with her, and I probably sat right next to her. So I guess she got it too.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
So.
she tried so hard. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was her comfort level being with just me and her. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I gave her the. Maybe there are reasons why she didn't want it. By the end of the day, I ended up at that same lunch table. So there are moments like that that really makes you wonder, but you just have to keep going and take your moment, feel your feelings, but
Mm.
don't let that disturb you on your path, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I never thought I'd revisit this again, but your story kind of brings it up for me again. I'm talking about comfort zones and stepping out, and I'll never forget. I wrote about it in a journal up here, and it's a story called "I Eat Strawberries Now."
Mm-hmm.
Just very quickly, because I really want to give you the time to speak. But basically, my sister had come back to Canada after many years, and she's a great cook, like way better than I, 10 times better than I. And she made coconut rice. Okay, so I went to the office. I was still in the office at that time. And I went with my coconut rice because coconut rice tastes good. And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think like corporate places are built for immigrants in terms of the smells and the scents that we bring with us, because everywhere is closed, and a lot of the spices and so on, they kind of create dissonance in the workplace. Whatever, we kind of need to solve that. But anywho, just to say that when I opened up to eat my coconut rice, it was a cubicle situation, and everybody else, this is Canada, so nobody confronts you. So everybody else asked everybody else whose food it was. How I knew that they knew it was my food is because nobody asked me. Oh, nobody asked me whether it was my food. They went around and they did it deliberately because it wasn't very nice in the office at that time. To the point where somebody opened the window or took some air freshener, like very snarkily, okay, very passive aggressively. And I sat there like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Because I'm gonna eat this food though, because my sister means a lot to me. She just came back, right? But it really really hurt. It really I felt very isolated. I didn't have any words for it. I think what one of the things that I did afterwards as a point of comfort was, at the end of the day, I then used to, as soon as I got in my vehicle, I would put on Caribbean music, blast it, just as a way of coming back to who I was. But it taught me a lot. And I had this conversation. There was another guy in the office who was also an immigrant. He happened to be South Asian Indian, as we say. And he used to come with his curry. So I asked him about it, whether one, you smelled my food. He said no, because I guess he's accustomed to these smells anyway. And he said something to me. He's like, well, what am I going to do? I am going to eat my food. So at some point, something has to give. And
Mm-hmm.
so that quiet acceptance of who he was for himself, it taught me to just simply be like, okay, we'll have to figure it out. But if my sister comes and makes coconut rice, Lisa's gonna eat it, and we'll have to deal with it somehow. It kind of reminds
Yeah.
me.
And yeah, thanks for sharing that. That brings so many brings up so many memories for me. But I
Yeah,
think it's not, I mean, people can have their opinions and they can feel certain ways and feel uncomfortable. That's fine. But sometimes
mhm,
it's the way that they handle it, you know? You
yeah,
have to remember there's another person on the other side.
I
So
think,
how are you dealing with this? Is this the best way that you're doing it? So I
yeah.
think if more of us did that, it would be better for everybody.
I think so. And well, we seem to be in a post DEI age. I'm
Mm,
not even sure what's going to be happening here, but I mean, let's see. I think there's perhaps a different way to handle DEI and EDI, as we say here in Canada, to handle it differently now, as opposed to being forceful. It might be just time to smile the racism off of people, smile the prejudice off of people, as opposed to being forceful. But um, I don't want to go into that conversation, but it seems like things are changing, and we still have to continue to be who we are and true to ourselves in the fight. That's what it
yeah.
seems to
I will
me.
say that it is a scary time. I'm not I'm still processing it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure what this all means,
Mm-hmm.
but I know it's not pleasant for sure.
Yeah. Well, I said to myself, well, that's just more work for coaches. That's just more work for any professional to kind of shore up your people, make sure they can win in any service that you provide, including accounting, including wealth building. I'm reminded, I'm not sure if you know of like Earn Your Leisure and so on, that they're very popular on YouTube and Instagram and so on. And they teach financial literacy to Black people. And that's how they
Mhm.
started. They've kind of blown up now and just, really talk to celebrities and so on. But they started teaching financial literacy in the schools, to in the inner cities. And I'm sure you would think that too is important, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I will definitely look them up. I hadn't heard of them until just
Yeah.
now.
We'll connect on that level. So, Clarita, what's next for you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my gosh. I'm glad you're asking. I'm glad you're asking me that now, 6 months after coaching as opposed to before.
I know, right?
Right. So for me, I have a lot of big plans.
Mhm,
When it comes to the business, I see myself as having other people working with me. Currently, I have at least two people that work with us part time, and in addition to them, I have persons like yourself. I have accounting coaches. I am working with quite a network here. Um, but in terms of bringing people on board, I see myself doing more of that. We will be bringing in a lot more clients, so we definitely need a lot more support there. I'm actually working with an HR person right now, and
mhm,
she's helping me put all of that in place so that we can create the structure to allow that to happen. And she's actually spoken to one person who's very excited to join us. So she's
mhm,
already had that conversation, and we just putting things in place so we can get that going. To be honest, I really do see myself also doing business in St. Lucia. So I'm hoping that
mhm.
is something that materializes for us. And in terms of the podcast, I don't know, maybe let me see what I have on my vision board here. I see something here that
Right
says
there, okay?
it says number one podcaster. So maybe I will have that in some niche. So we're working towards that. I definitely know I want to keep the podcast going
Oh, absolutely.
because it feeds my spirit just speaking to so many people. And I love when I learn something from one guest that I can
Mhm,
share with other guests. So I
mhm,
actually one of the things I'm trying to put together too is a group of entrepreneurs. So there are persons who probably cannot afford to have an accountant right now, but they still have to do their books. They still want to know what their numbers are like. So I'm putting together a program where um, those entrepreneurs can have like a group, come into a group setting, learn what they need to, ask the questions that they need to, and be able to do their own accounting. And eventually, hopefully, as they work with us, they
mhm.
would grow so much that they would eventually need us even more.
Absolutely,
But we
yeah.
want to the part about community for us, it's just so important, community, that I want to make sure that there is that available, because I've heard from a lot of entrepreneurs who reach out to an accountant and the accountant says, well, we can't work with you,
Making enough
you're
money.
not making enough money.
You have
and
to
i
get your money first.
and I get it, because we're all out there to make money, and including myself. But I was trying to think of a way to actually still be able to work with such a person, and both of us still benefit. So having a group program is something I don't have it quite developed yet, but it is something I'm working on. So maybe I'll have a wait list of some sort, so people
Mm-hmm.
who are interested can let us know, and
Mm-hmm.
then we will take it from there.
Okay,
So
let's.
yeah, so basically growing the business
Mhm.
is my mission for the next
Okay.
5 years.
I wanted to put up your URL so people can go check out your website. It's cmeaccountingllc.com, right?
Yes.
Got it? Okay, there it is. So if you're interested, if you hear Clarita's ideas and you're interested in this small group, or even in working with her one-on-one, please go check her out. She's good at what she does. She doesn't say it very often. Chartered accountant, not so?
CPA, yes, I'm a
CPA.
certified public accountant, yes.
Right. All of the things she has, and we had to kind of remember we had that conversation. Put it out there. Why don't you want to put it on? But you had your reasons. Like I think you're always able to justify what you do, and that is great. That's absolutely great. Clarity, you know how when you were doing the podcast, when you had started, and I had listened for the first time, I said to you, one of the endearing things about the podcast still, even though you're 40 something episodes, it really is that questing mind Like you don't, though you're a pilot, you don't come at people directly. There's that sense of, I just wonder about this. I just wonder about this. But that kind of belies the strategic mind, that clearly just guides and drives everything that you do, because you always seem to have a plan and to know where you're going. I remember when you had planned your staff retreat. Remember that? Oh my
Yes.
gosh, down to branded bottles. It's just simply that you're understated, but you go out. I find, is that your MO, or do you think about it? Am I even right in that
Yeah.
assessment? You think?
Yeah, I think I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know if it's um I don't know. It's just the way I am. Just because I can doesn't mean I have to be up in your face about it. I try.
Mhm,
You bring people along with you on the journey. You provide support where needed. You give them space if they need that. So I think that's just my approach as a person.
mhm,
I don't want to be in anybody's face all the time. I go with you at your pace.
mhm.
We're doing this together. As much as I am a pilot,
Yeah,
I do appreciate that. Every it's not a one size fit all. You go according to the situation, and I feel like I may be able to read that and
mhm.
just kind of wh- be what you need at the time, as long as it's not going across my own boundaries, right?
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. It's very
Right.
disarming. Like, it's very good in a podcast interviewer to be that kind of way, because it can be very disarming. And when people relax, they always like, they spill their heart.
Yeah, and I come at it never trying to like have like a got you question.
Yeah.
It's more just who you are, just kind of just sometimes I feel like people have their story and they have not revisited it in a long time. And when you ask them that question, like those questions, it just brings them back to either a challenge or a beautiful memory. But it's not me trying to ask you questions where, oh, I got you. You see, you
Mm-mm,
were not you
mm-mm,
right. So I want you to be comfortable, and
mhm,
I come to it like authenticity is very important to me.
mhm.
So I just try to create that kind of environment for everybody. So
Wow, that's awesome. I just know, like, great things are in store just because of the work you've done and you continue to do. Like, you go get help when you need it, and
mhm.
that's so admirable. So last question or so. By the way, if anybody has any questions or comments for Clarita, please don't hesitate. Just write them, and I will, if I can see them on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, I'm gonna pull them up. Okay. Curious question. Okay. What are you? Well, we know you're passionate about podcasting and community. So maybe I should go on to the next question, unless you had something else you were passionate about that you want to tell us about.
No, well, in all of what you said and just the future in general, I'm just very like you mentioned. There's a lot in store for me, and I believe that you made me believe that too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I kind of would be a little down,
Mm.
but after those sessions, it's like, yeah, you got this, girl. Go do it. So
All
that
on you.
yeah, you pumped me up quite a bit. So even though I forgot some of the things I believed in, after our conversations, I was definitely reminded.
Reminded of, because they were already there. That's it.
Yes,
That it
yes.
was like
So
clarity.
I'm very passionate about what is to come.
Yeah. Like, before I ask you that very last question about what do you wonder about in the world, that's a question I'm going to ask, right? As soon as I finish it and just discuss this little piece. I've been thinking about what confidence is. And I have my first analogy is that confidence is a muscle, that every time you step out and you do what is fearful, what you're afraid of, you get stronger.
Hmm.
And because I'm pretty sure the first podcast that you did, as opposed to episode number
Oh,
45, it's a different you, right?
Lisa, even before that, Even before that first podcast, my editor, he's in India, Neil, shout out to Neil.
Shout out to Neil.
He had a lot of work to do with me before we got to that point, because just recording that opening,
Oh, we begin,
yeah,
build,
you know how
close
many
up.
takes, how many days, how many, it took me forever. I think at one point he even told me, everything will not be perfect, but we need to move on. Because I was, all those things you have to put together.
Mhm.
It's part of the building confidence. Like
Uh-huh.
every time I did it, it brought me closer, right?
Yeah.
But that first step, just stepping out in I don't know, I guess confidence, but it's just that confidence grows, so it looks
Mhm.
different as you progress. But it really did take a lot of confidence to do that. And yes,
Yeah.
I did a lot of it before I got to that point where I actually put out that very first, just the trailer.
The
That
tree.
was difficult. But
Oh my God.
now, it's a lot easier, and it's really what
Yeah.
I wanted. I knew it is what I wanted, but fear was keeping me behind.
Yeah.
So once I got the help to help me get over that,
Mm-hmm.
the rest is history, as they say.
What's history they're making right now? And then the other thing too is it seems to me like this. I have another analogy about confidence after working with people like you, and it's I think it's a great one. It's almost like coaching plant seeds, and then for a while everything's like still in the dark, and you're not sure anything is happening. And one day, is it the bamboo tree that just kind of grows very quickly after a
Yes,
while?
it just shoots up.
It just shoots up. And I'm like, so what was happening all of this time? We worked together for there about 6 months. Stuff seemed to happen, and of course, I can't take all the credit. Obviously, not because I know you are working with other people. So you are just in this mindset of I'm getting help, I'm doing all the things. This pilot is piloting her ship, right? But what is it that it just seemed like it was okay, and then you just shot out like I don't even know. Is it the mediums that you use, like the? But it just seemed that confidence just spiraled, and it 10x
Yeah,
after a while.
because I think okay, if we look at begin, build, blossom. So when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about planting the seed, right? It feels like it takes forever to see that first little thing shoots out. That, like, is anything growing down there? Should I dig it up and see if it's still alive?
What many people do.
Right, but then there's a lot of work happening. There's nutrients being taken in. There's you keep watering and you do all of that. So it might seem stagnant, but then the growth is happening. You're just not seeing it, I guess.
That's
But
probably
when
it.
you start seeing it, you really see it, and at that point it seems like it just takes off. And I
Yeah,
feel for me, I think there was one thing you told me. You're like, "Are you open for business?"
yeah. That oh Jesus Lord, that was the
And
doing. Right?
that one took. I was like, "Huh, am I?"
Yeah, that was
Because I
it.
had I had the business, but you said you need to do things that indicates that you're open for business. Because there's one thing opening the business, there's one thing actually telling people this is what I do, and to confidently go out there and say this is who I am, this is what you're going to get from me, and I am open for business. You
Yeah.
did that for me. That took a while, but I'm like, she is so right. Like, and it just has not been the same since. Now I'm on
Open for
Facebook.
business 24/7.
I'm on LinkedIn telling my story, and I'm really, yeah. So it's been quite a. I could see the difference for sure.
Yeah, like it was a mental opening for business. Talking of which, Clarita, if you don't mind, let me just tell the people about being open for business because next week Friday I'm having this pitch perfect. Remember, I had put it up. Excuse I to not to get you off the screen for a little bit, but next week Friday, if you are that person who has a business and you don't think you're open for business, then come out here. I'm having this workshop. It's my first in-person workshop in Canada, in Edmonton. So it's a 3 hour workshop where I'll be showing people just basically how to share your business with clarity and confidence. It's a sign of being open for business. And that mental clarity will translate into being able to speak about your business and say, hey, I can help you. And I came up with the pitch perfect idea because I went to a networking event and I saw this very introverted lady who was so scared at the mic to speak about her business. And I knew that she did good work because everybody else was talking about her. But when she came to speak about her business, like she just crumbled at the lectern. So I'm like, no, I'm here. I can help with that. That's what I do. So
Mhm.
if you want to do the pitch perfect business, it's a way of showing you all the ways that mentally you should be open for business. And if you are mentally open for business, you will speak about it in a certain way. So that's what I want to help people do. So if you are in Edmonton, and you can come out to, let me just put the link for it, because let me just put the link in here for it, so you can come out and be part of the pitch perfect workshop. It's happening on Friday the 31st of January. So we're almost at capacity. Hopefully, I'm just taking 10 people. Because I really want to hear everybody's pitch. Like, how are you talking about your business? Do I even believe you? How can I help you to say what the things that you have to answer the question for every single person you meet? What's in it for me? I don't want to hear how long Basement Chronicles has been along. What is Basement Chronicles doing for me? Also, I don't want to hear, right? That kind of thing. So, if you are in Edmonton and you're looking to really just 10x your business results, one of those ways is to communicate it with confidence and clarity. Absolutely. So, that's what we're going to be doing at the Pitch Perfect workshop. So, let me just put that on the screen there so you can sign
Anissa,
up for it.
I
Yes,
am
go ahead.
tempted. I am tempted to come just to attend.
No,
That's
you'll be.
I think people really should go because what you offer, you really. I don't know if you. I don't even know if you understand what you give back.
Mm,
You know the amount of just what people benefit from working with you. Well, for me, I'm talking on
thank
behalf of
you.
myself.
Yes.
Working with you has really done a lot for me, helping me really see myself the way I used to way back then. But life had taken, all what had
Yeah.
happened in life kind of had taken that away from me. But working with you really helped me get clarity again from
Mhm.
what, in my own situation, and to just really just go after my dreams and just believe in those again.
Exactly. I'm just thank you for saying that. I appreciate it, and it has been an honor to see this kind of growth and these kinds of results. Like, they say that I am the kind of coach who I'm like, come in, you're going to get results. We are going to work together until you get the results that you came for, because you did not pay me for like half results. What did you come for? As a coach, I have to do my part, you have to do your part, but you have to get a certain result. So we
Mhm.
work towards that. Like
Well, I'm a very satisfied client. So,
that's
and I will be back. You're not getting rid of me
oh my
that
gosh.
easily. So I'm just looking
Yes.
for more opportunities to work with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and they're coming fast and furiously for sure. So Clarita, oh my gosh, like all the best. If the last 6 8 months are any like idea of what's coming, great things are coming. Like, you're gonna do wonderful things. I just love the way you do it. For me, like, I just love the way you do it, the way that you go into the world knowing what you want, but very understated. So you just disarm people, not in any kind of like manipulative way. It's just your questing, curious way that you lead with that, and I recognize that just very early. It's amazing.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Lisa.
So last question is, what makes you wonder in the world? What are you curious about in the world?
That's
Yes.
the toughest question so far.
Wow. What do you wonder about? World peace?
I don't know. What do I wonder?
Wonder about what questions occupy your time? Although that one is an easy one. I don't want to give you any good. You pilots, you
Yeah,
know you're not getting that one. No.
maybe I have just so many things floating, but what keeps I would say it is about business and people. For
Uh,
me, every time I speak to a guest on the podcast, it's really wanting to know more about them and what it was that led them to where they are today. Because we all have this story. Sometimes we don't realize it until later on. Because honestly, I'm only now realizing mine, like how so many things in my life is connected to where I am today. And we kind of sometimes look at it in isolation, but they really all come together. And some things we've forgotten until somebody brings it up or asks you questions, which is why coaching really helped, because it really helped me dig deep and to really get to the bottom of a lot of things. Um, and it really just brought up a lot of good things for me as well. So I like to know that about other people, like what
Mhm.
it is, like when did you know you wanted to start a business,
Mhm.
um what it is you want to, like why are you even in business. I love asking those questions, and I feel like on the podcast, um people like, honestly, Lisa, I think by the time people are done with the podcast,
Mhm.
they come out feeling a little differently. I
Yeah.
feel just that those like that half an hour really helps. I believe it helps me, it helps them.
Yes.
So
Well, what do you think it does for them?
I think they really get a chance to journey back a little bit and maybe reconnect with the reason why they're doing what they're doing. And because when I'm in business, like recently I spoke with someone and she told me that she's actually thinking of closing shop.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I'm thinking, sometimes when you have that, when you just talk about why you're doing what you're doing,
Mhm.
it kind of brings back all those emotions, all the reasons, like your why that you talk about a lot.
Mhm.
I'm not doing work around there, but I think in somebody's mind, it does take them back to, okay, why did I do want to do this in the first place?
Mhm.
So for me, I think some of that happens during our conversation on the
Mhm.
podcast, and I love to see that.
Yeah. So, and you see the transformation. You see when they like it clicks back into place for them. This is why,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow. Everything that I thought it would be and more. I was so happy
Well,
to do this.
I'm sure. Well, I'm like, Lisa, are we doing this live, really?
Yes. Oh, right. Exactly. See, it
And
wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad because you're the same
no,
person. Yeah. You've
yeah,
done live before, haven't you, Clarita? Yes, you have.
no, I stay away from.
What?
You're my first.
Oh my God. You see?
Everything I do
Confidence
is
muscle
recorded.
again.
Yeah, so definitely helps with my confidence. And I mean, the fact that it's you, and you're an amazing person to speak with. So I'm like,
Thank you.
I'm just having a conversation with Lisa, so it's
Yeah,
good.
you just did. We just were in my basement having a conversation, like that's it.
Yes.
Afterwards, we'll go
So
and have our
thanks for
macaroni.
making me feel that way.
Yeah, you should have. Well, you should have as yourself, as
Mhm.
expected. Wow, that's great. Well, all the best. We'll connect after, I imagine, and
Oh yeah,
just resume.
definitely.
Yes, we have stuff to do. Okay, so thank you, Clarita. My guest today was Clarita Monrose, the CEO of CME Accounting LLC. If you are looking, you could go check out her website and DM her after. All of that's available. And you can rewatch this if you're watching this on the replay. Please type replay just to kind of make the algorithm jump a little bit. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, have you subscribed to the channel? I have this lady I watch. She's like, "Have you subscribed? Have you liked it? Have you shared it?"
Oh, I think you're muted.